Hello everyone and welcome to our TRUMPF webinar about TruTops Boost and about the topic of punch programming and how we get from geometry to the in-C program faster than ever before. My name is Vitaly Pautz and I would like to present that topic to you within the next 30 minutes. In this webinar, you will learn how the new Boost nesting module not only enables you to maintain a complete overview of your all outstanding orders, but also results in a better material utilization. Furthermore, we will focus on cutting solutions for single parts, job-related nestings, and intuitive adaptation of punch processing. Some further examples would be programming of separation cuts, the creation of specific tool lists or tools, the definition of compulsory sequence, and, for example, the creation of machining templates. But before we begin, let's look again quickly on the structure of TruTops Boost. So we have created not only all the automatic calculations and the whole new software architecture that would be our new Boost technology, but also the division of the software into two levels. So meaning that there's a new operating philosophy. So the first level is called Home Zone. It's our central control level where we manage all our orders, all our machines and material. And by clicking on the Boost button, we get with one click to our in-C code. Within the second level called Tech Zone, we can draw new parts in 2D and 3D, and of course we can interactively change the automatically generated solutions, technological solutions within band, laser, or punch processing. And of course we are creating orders, and the goal is always to generate in-C codes in order to release them onto the machine. What we see here is the user interface of the Home Zone. On the left side, you will find some categories such as order, nesting, single part, material, machine, or nesting templates, and of course some filters. In the center, you see the order list, and on the right side, the detailed view according to your selection. So there's a preview of your 3D, 2D part, the dimensions of the part, and where the part is used, whether there's a bending program, a cutting program, what that is, I will show you later on, and in which jobs, for example, that part is being nested. But let's start with the import. First of all, we are able to import via the PPS interface, and basically it's the connection with your ERP system, and it's an XML file format, and basically you can pre-configure it according to your needs. And that would be the manual import. So we see some DXF parts, and that would be the list of the all supported formats. So all the 2D formats and a lot of 3D formats are supported, and of course STEP and STL as base format. So we just select all the parts and just import them. First of all, I would like to specify a certain finish date for the orders, and just meaning that would be the finish date for the programming, and it has nothing to do with the production. And of course, if you want to manage the production, that would be our software product called Quick Job. All right, we specify our quantity. That would be 8 parts each, and we assign our client. Of course, you can select now the material, and let's say that would be 1mm steel. So there's no unfolding tool list and no bending program. And then we boost all our orders. So you see that the parts are immediately being imported, checked for open contours, for example. If there would be any open contour, would get a red exclamation mark, and we would so be warned whether there's a problem or not. So with our status concept, you always see the next programming step. So for example, the geometry is completed, but the nesting is still missing. So what we do is we will create our nesting. For that, I click the button. We see that the category is changed. We have our order list. We can add parts. So by adding, you see that the material is already pre-selected, and you see all the open order list, and you can just select the parts. And basically, the nesting pool helps you to better utilize your material, and you don't need to keep in mind by yourself. So which client has ordered also 1 mm steel, and that's how the nesting pool helps you. So what we're gonna do is we just select the machine, we select the raw sheet format, and again we boost our nesting. In the background, it's being this sheet is selected. All our punching tools are applied, which I have activated within the tool list, and of course, TruTops Booster works according to your presettings, meaning that all your tools will be used and all your punching processing parameters will be used, and you know your part variation, and it could of course be that you have a certain tool settings for that kind of part set, and for another part set you've got another tool list. So basically you need to open up that within the text on cut and specify the right tool list. So we see that the nesting is finished already. There are 3 sheets. So on the second sheet there's a warning saying that a part of scrap might become free unplanned. I open up the generated program and I just double click on the second sheet and deactivate the positioning lines, start the simulation in order to find the problem. So we see here it overlaps and basically that scrap becomes free unplanned. So a very easy solution would be just moving the part to the left side, and we see that it doesn't overlap anymore. And what I do, I just start the simulation again to check, and we see that everything works fine. At the end I just recreate the in-C program for the second sheet and close the program. So we have interactively optimized the second sheet, and that's the whole idea of TruTops Boost. It generates a very fast solution for your bending, laser, and punching programming. And if you need to optimize anything interactively, you're still able to do so within the specific text zone. So we see the total processing time, we see the scrap percentage, and we can release the program. So you saw how in few minutes we have automatically processed that order from our customer, and that's how Boost works, automatically and fast. If you would like to change anything, as I mentioned before, we can open up the sheet program within the text zone cut, and you see that nesting module and the technology was combined within one application window, and there's no function navigator on the right side, but everything within the ribbon, and there's a part scroll in the center. If you double click, you see the corresponding part on your sheet, and the idea of punching and laser programming is to program in a very intuitive way. So just a few examples. If I click on technology, it's very easy to move your clamps just by clicking on them and releasing. If we click, for example, on a punching pad, it's very easy. You see the overlapping distance. It's very easy to modify it. So either you just drag and drop, or you type in a certain value. Another example would be the right click. So we have integrated some functions which are quite often used, for example, as activation of that tool. And for example, if you want to create a single hole, you have that tool on your mouse and can place it on a certain contour or without contour. So another tool would be property information or rotation of your tool. And so basically all those functions help you to get the work done faster. And another application of that would be the modification of your sheet layout. So if we select those parts, we can rotate them, we can move them, and it's very easy to use, and you can nest basically manually in a very fast way. So we simulate our processing, and I would like to mention some characteristics of how TruTops Boost works internally. If I open up my parameters for the sheet layout for the nesting, you see some options on the sheet margins, you see the part distance, and if I open up the processing configuration, you see that everything is pre-configured and there is a certain tool list used. If I open up that my tools, you see which tools are being used for my program. And the best thing is once you pre-configure everything, so from the parameters of your nesting, of the processing configuration and the optimization parameters, there's a button which saves your parameters back into the automatic calculation. That means that Boost works exactly how you pre-configure it. And if some parts or if some tool lists don't fit for a certain part set, it means that you just have to create another tool list and again apply your configuration. In the next example, I'd like to show you how to manage your tool list. So once you have created it, there are exactly three tool lists. There's a list management window, and you see exactly which tools are within your list, and here are on the top side there are all tools, and just by clicking you would add them to your list, and if you want to delete, you can just remove them from your list here. Of course you can create new tool lists and so on. What I'd like to do is I want to add a certain punching tool. Either import some tools, and that would be an XML file, and you see all the tools to be imported. You select OK, and if I go back to my list, that would be exactly the bottom list. If I want to create new punching tools, I would just click create, and that would be a standard tool, continue, and here it would be a special tool type. So once you are in your create tool window, there are, of course, you can put in some dimensions, but what I'd like to do, I would edit that drawing, and I would like to create or insert a special punching tool. For that, if I click on edit drawing, our 3D design comes up, and I'm able to modify anything. I can import existing geos or draw my own tools. So we have opened up that tool and just activate the front view. So what I'd like to do is I'll just import that WZG file, and basically that would be my special tool. So in the next step, you see that another design window was opened. So I'll just select everything, copy, and paste it exactly where my tool was. So I select everything, delete it, and you have to be careful about the origin and the color of your tool. So I save back my my changes, and you see that the tool was imported. What I do, I just press on suggestion of the ID number, I get my remark, and either I can create the next tool, and there's another window opened, or I just close it and I'm finished. So if I want to add that new tool to my tool list, I'll just go to my list management, find all my special tools, and that would be my special tool, and right now it's copied to my Boost Demo tool list. Alright, that's how easy it is to create special tools and to manage your tool list within TruTops Boost. So return, say OK, and I'm finished. So I'll just close my nesting. In the next example, I'd like to show you how Boost manages special forms within your parts. So even the punching gets even more and more complex, and you get 3D parts, you have to unfold them and punch them again very quickly and efficiently. So how do we manage special forms? For that, I import that part, I assign my material and the tool list for the unfolding, and open up that part within the 3D design. So I don't boost it because actually I know that there are special forms and there will be a problem because the unfold is not complete, and I just save time and open it manually. So what you see, there's a 3D part, and we see immediately that there are some nuts and bolts and even some center bosses. And what we do is we have a identification tool, and there are different type of forms. And I just click on forms, I ignore normal cutouts, and there were 8 forms detected. They're highlighted in red. If I click the check mark, you see that there's they get a feature of forms. And what I'd like to do after validation, well, after validation, the unfolding is created because it wasn't possible to create the unfolding with the unidentified forms. But now comes the special trick actually. If you have forms which you would like to punch, there's a very easy way. If I go to my selection and look for all identical forms, there are 4 forms. You see it here at the bottom. And if you know the tool ID by heart, so it would be 130, 550 for center bosses, and click enter. The tool ID is assigned now to your forms, and within the punching module, exactly that tool will be selected for the processing. So, and for example, for that, not, I like to measure the inner circle, and that's exactly 5 millimeters in diameter. For that, I'd like to create a sample processing with a pre-punching hole of 5 millimeters, and we just measure it for reference. So I save it back and create my nesting with that part. So I change my quantity to 5 and create a nesting. Again, I select my S12, select my small sheet format, and boost my sheet program. There is a warning saying that there are some unprocessed geometries. We just open that sheet program and look for the result. If I click on technology on that tool, I can activate it, and you see that the center bus was used automatically. But of course, there are some unprocessed geometries, as for example that base for the nut, and that's why we need the processing samples. So first of all, I activate my single part mode. All right, before I can insert a processing sample, I need, of course, my processing, and for that reason I activate my single stroke and a round 5. I select my round 5 and select that hole. So now I change to my processing sample, select those 5 geometries, lines, click on OK, select my processing, and just give it a name. So that would be my pre-punching for my sample, no remark, and rotation is possible for 2 millimeters material. You can deselect. If you want to machine it, you can deselect, and you just click on OK. So now if I leave my single part mode, I apply the changes for all the angular positions and click on OK. What I'd like you to show within the last example is how to create twin line processing. So once we go to our part list and to our parts, we just change the distance mode to twin line and go to the parameters of our nesting and type in 5 millimeters for the tool width, depending on your tool you'd like to use. Then I renest everything, double click, and see already that the distance is 5 millimeters. I create my processing, and then I optimize within the next step. There are still some unprocessed geometries, but that's alright. What I'd like you to show is exactly that part of the processing with one tool for both parts, basically. So I would like to finish up that webinar with that example and give a short summary. And basically, the punching model of TruTops Boost automatically calculates punch programs. It works with any CAD geometry, and it does the job faster than ever. And if you have, in case you have any questions, don't hesitate to write. And for the preview for the next webinar, it will be tips and tricks in TruTops Boost. And if you have any ideas, please write to us, and we are glad to answer all your questions. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.